How do I get this thing working? How does it work? I've got no idea. Is it recording already? I wish I could get these stupid things to work. Oi you, listen up. I'm going to have my say. G'day guys, it's John here from That's My Say. And I saw a video the other day. It was on the news and everything. Apparently it's had quite a lot of hits, and it was called Technology for Seniors 101 or something like that. Anyway, I'll leave a link to it down there. And basically it was an elderly couple who I think the wife had a little bit of a tutorial from her daughter on how to work the webcam, and they were trying to get it going again. They couldn't figure out how to get the thing recording, and then after some funny face pulling and a bit of banter and that sort of thing, they finally realised that they were actually already recording. And it's a very sweet video in a way. These old couple sort of having a bit of fun after all this time, and it's pretty funny. And it also reminded me of my wife's grandmother, who was a shocker with technology, even basic stuff like video recorders and tape recorders. And the story from that basically is she had a video recorder. It was a pretty simple video recorder, and when we went out and bought it with her, we chose it because it had great big buttons that were easy to see and was about as simple as it could ever be to use. We put it in there, showed her how to use it, press play, rewind, all this sort of stuff. You got to make sure the tape's rewound at the beginning before you play it and all that sort of thing, and got her to do it, and she seemed to be fine. Then later on she called us up and said, "Oh, this video player won't work, it's broken," and all this sort of stuff. So we went there and had a look, and the video player wasn't broken, it was fine. It just wasn't, it wasn't being used properly. It was operator error. Or as some computer people might call it, it was a user issue. So we wrote down on a sheet of paper in great big letters how to use it. So you had to put the TV onto AV input, and you had to like rewind the tape to the beginning and press play and all this sort of stuff to get it to work. And we put great big labels, because even though it had big buttons, it only had little font on there saying it was play or rewind and all that sort of stuff. And we put stickers on there with great big letters on there with play and rewind and fast forward and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, she calls us up after a little while. "Oh, I can't figure out this video recorder, it's broken again, blah 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 blah." We go up there, the sheet of paper with the instructions that we stuck sort of along the shelf that the video was sitting on was gone. The stickers had been peeled off and cleaned off the buttons. And we said, "What'd you take those for?" "Oh, they looked ugly, and like I didn't know why they were put there anyway." I'm just going, "Man, they put there to help out, for God's sake." And it was a battle, and she wanted to get a DVD player, and we resisted that. Yeah, it wasn't ever going to be a good thing. If you can't figure out the simplest of video players, a DVD player is not going to be that much easier. Although she'd been told by people, "Oh yeah, DVDs are great, they're really good." Well, they are, but if you can't use a video player, you're going to struggle with a DVD player. Well, it's very likely anyway, you're going to have just as much trouble. And the other trouble that she had is with this radio. I believe it's the one, as simple as it's a CD player. She hates CDs. Surprisingly, she could use them, but the radio used to give her all sorts of trouble, because she wouldn't switch it off. She'd switch it off or DVD player, but then she'd always turn it off at the power point. Anyway, she'd turn it off at the power point, and she'd expect the radio just to come on, and the radio wouldn't come on. She'd call us time and time again. "Oh, my CD player is broken, my CD player is broken." "What do you mean it's broken? It won't play the radio. Have you switched it to radio?" "Yes, it's always on radio." Anyway, we go there and we go, "Look, switch it on radio," and it works. And she was no good with technology. Yeah, and it was just really funny. It used to be frustrating, but it was just funny to talk about it afterwards. Just this lady who was a really clever lady, but just technology just had her absolutely buggered. She couldn't figure it out. But like you get her to, like, she could cook the most amazing meals, and she could knit anything. She could just look at something and knit it or sew it together, and wouldn't even need patterns or anything. But like those things that she'd been doing for so long, she could do really well. But technology, even the simplest sort of stuff like basic video players, just had her absolutely buggered. Yeah, so just funny stories like that. If you've got a funny story about an elderly person who's a little technologically challenged, let us know. Tell about us in the comments down below, or make a video response about it. Tell us about your relative who's got a bit of a technological challenge about them. Even if they're young people who can't figure stuff out, it's pretty easy. Most of the time it's just having a go of it and just playing around with it. Although, like I said, Nan would have a play around, but she was just, yeah, she was a funny old bird. Anyway, that's it. So, what's your... No, leave a comment below, give us your stories of technologically challenged people. Okay, see you later. Take care. Well, that's my say. What do you reckon? How do I turn this damn thing off? Technology gets me every time.